The motor car. Millions of them. All sizes, but roughly the same shape. Loved and worshipped by some, even hated by a few. But if you turn your back, they won't go away. What does the motor car mean to us? Well, it's sometimes a source of leisure for the family, or basic transport for busy mothers and kids. Other cars are used as workhorses around the clock, or to go fast for the younger generation, and more slowly for the middle-aged. So, if motor cars are all things to all men and women, then a new car must be a whole lot more than a passing fancy, an impulsive purchase. This is the story of a new car, a new Ford car for the world to drive. It started over 3 years ago, and if all you drivers watch closely, you will see the part you played in this, because it was you who started the ball rolling. Let's begin by listening to some of the things you expect from a car. It makes a pretty impressive list.
Seat belts, wide wheels, radial tyres, servo-assisted disc brakes.
Good back seats, good packed seats. It's very, very essential.
Auf Wirtschaftlichkeit, guten Fahrkomfort und natürlich Sicherheit.
Boot capacity is a big must, especially when you go on holiday. When I go on holiday with the family, I've got 3 children. We have everything with us, the deck chairs, the bowls, the luggage cases. It's a must, a complete must.
Ik breng elke dag mijn vriend naar het werk. Dat wil dus zeggen dat ik 5 keer per week doe.
Und fahren Sie auch mit dem Auto zum Einkaufen?
2 bis 3 Mal in der Woche, meistens nach Köln oder Düsseldorf.
Wel juffrouw, het is voor mij zeer simpel als antwoord. Ik ben met zo'n wagen, dus van de middenstandsgenre, zeer content. En die wagen schenkt mij volledig voldoening.
It really does benefit to have a smooth, silky ride.
Good road holding and good performance-wise from the vehicle.
Dan heb je zaterdagsnamiddags en zondagsnamiddags wel van die 2 kleine kinderen. En dan ook wel de moeder van mijn vrouw soms.
Auf genügend Platz für die Familie und es soll natürlich nicht zu groß sein.
Positive steering, good brakes.
Economy is one of the most important things I've got to take into consideration.
But when Ford decided to replace the highly successful Cortina range, they did a lot more homework than a mere 100,000 interviews and 5 million questions. They carried out much more sophisticated research as well. In hotel rooms and private halls around the world, they invited a broad cross-section of the motoring public to walk around and look at a new car. There were no badges or nameplates on it, and so the people had no idea of the make, or even the country it came from. Ford questioned these people about the car, and about what they expect from a car. And some of the questions were pretty searching. The results of this research in depth and of the 100,000 interviews were then analyzed by computer. What came out of the other end? Several million headaches for the designers and engineers. And for the product planners, the men whose job it was to coordinate the new car concept. Just as the Cortina was to be replaced in Britain, so was its equivalent in Germany. Ford top management agreed that the new cars should be developed by pooling the best brains and the best facilities in Europe. Designers and engineers got together from the start. They talked of timing, weight, and cost effectiveness. They equated performance against design, ride and handling characteristics against suspension geometry. They looked long and hard at the growing legal and safety requirements throughout world markets. They got their teeth into 1,000 problems, solved them, and tackled 1,000 more. Above all, they never lost sight of the likes and dislikes of the customer. Research had shown just how space-conscious the modern motorist is. So planners and engineers linked up with designers to provide the first shape in the scheme. Full-size package layouts to study head and leg room, seating comfort, boot space, and the driver's relationship to control positions. Today's drivers want to feel plenty of air around them, that they have a large car inside and a medium-sized car outside.
What we've got to make sure of now is that the headroom that we get inside here is very close to our competition. Now we've got to be absolutely sure that that other competitive car that's in the showroom now will get the mannequin in, we'll get it seated in the correct location, and we'll make a temperate from the back so that we get the exact condition in the head swing area.
What we've got at the moment seems pretty good.
Now if we check the actual inside contour against the 8-degree line.
A third dimension emerged with the building in clay of a number of full-size models and a lot of the interior appointments. Experiments have been made on many other substances, but clay is still preferred for its pliable nature, its flexibility in being so easy to make rapid changes to a design shape. With clay, modelers can change the shape almost as fast as designers can change their minds. But humble clay in the hands of craftsmen is transformed into finely executed detail that can be touched and looked at and appraised.
Wenn wir das in dieser Farbe brauchen,
they've changed this line here, they've brought this line down.
Eigenfarbigen Plastik machen oder meinen Sie, dass wir es lackieren?
We've almost completed this side now, if he's going to alter this line.
Because the modern motorist spends more time in his car and demands a far higher degree of comfort, specially built frameworks called bucks were produced, not only to give the designers the feel of their medium and to evaluate interior trim and seating, but also to measure the complex seat-to-pedal relationships with a metal man called Oscar.
Boot capacity is a big must, especially when you go on holiday. When I go on holiday with the family, I've got 3 children, we have everything with us, the deck chairs, the balls, the luggage cases. It's a must, a complete must.
No, not a finished prototype, but a good example of the attention to detail in the scheme. This is a full-size model built in fiberglass to enable top design executives to prove out fit and function, to allow the shape, the look, the aesthetics of design to be discussed and argued about. Points of detail, trim, moldings, all these things can be seen as part of the whole. But as the scheme got underway, time became another master. Just like a moonshot, schedules began to exert their own particular pressures, schedules that were the linchpin of the whole operation. For now, the approved clay models and sections became the very first source of measurement information, a mass of linear data ready for translation into detailed drawings, as a step towards the manufacture of the first prototypes in England and Germany.
I think if you do that, you have to watch the thickness of the pipe.
I think what we need to do is make a comparison of the spring size pitch on the seat with the TC.
We could get a spring rate test done on it.
With blueprints, bulging briefcases, and even boxes of oily components, the men engaged on the project commuted into each other's offices and workshops. 7-day-a-week traffic between Essex and the Rhineland. The bridge between these men, their ideas and their problems intensified. Company aircraft became extensions of the office and the conference room as the endless discussions and meetings continued. Some problems were solved at a height of 15,000 feet. Now, constant use was made of the new quality dictionary, EGPAS. Full title, European General Product Acceptance Specification. This laid down a series of design, performance, and durability standards for the entire project. engineering drawings in English and German came into their own, and the very first prototype bodies began to take shape, section by section. As the huge body program gathered momentum, a massive amount of precise and detailed engineering was already underway on the new car's chassis and mechanical sections.
5-degree rock.
5-degree angle from the inertia rear.
185 by 13 with a 20mm clearance to the hood line.
I think the customer today is looking for a low, sleeky car that holds the road far much better than the usual old-fashioned box-type car.
From the maximum chance of 90.
We can't tip it over on an angle because the pendulum doesn't work.
In the engine build workshops, one machine costing close to £1 million worked under numerical control as it performed the dozens of automatic functions to produce the prototype engine blocks required for the program. Under the surface of paraffin, the Sparkatron machine bombarded already tempered metal to produce diamond-hard exotic shapes for the gear trains. As elements of the prototypes began to appear, a huge testing program got underway. In refined laboratory areas in England and Germany, every component, each piece of the body, all working parts were twisted, distorted and tortured around the clock on test rigs. These special machines were built only to stress and test the thousands of components that make up the modern car, day in, day out, for months on end, as a key date in the schedule drew near. Now all the pieces have been put together, and for the first time there is a chance to see the result in tangible shape. The first of the prototypes. Top Ford executives now help to prove the first prototypes in alpine conditions. Helped to prove in high altitudes braking systems developed under their supervision. These men were involved in all aspects from day one, and they continued to be involved and committed to the prototypes throughout every stage. And while the cars were in the mountains, in over 50 dynamometer cells in Essex, engine tests were still being carried out on the whole new range of overhead camshaft engines as refinements and modifications were approved. In modern driving conditions, seeing is safety. Good all-round visibility is essential. A quieter part of the testing program was in the visibility room, where the original design was checked and confirmed. Complicated vibration tests were set up to stress the prototype, while delicate instruments recorded and assessed the efficiency of each separate part.
Motor starten.
Autolijn. Viertijkant, Vollgas.
Another complete prototype was set up in a wind tunnel to undergo a series of tests at wind speeds, well in excess of anything the final cars will have to face. With its rear wheels running on rollers, the prototype was subjected to anything from a scorching desert wind to a freezing Arctic gale. A major requirement of the whole project from the start had been to produce a quieter car. Because of this, in a specially designed anechoic chamber, the vehicle was run on a road simulator. Every known surface condition was fed in by tapes, while sound engineers recorded and plotted sound levels from a mass of microphones. The new cars must satisfy owners in the northern hemisphere as well as in the rest of the world. So other prototypes were set to start and run in cold rooms where controlled temperatures stood at 35 degrees below zero. Prototypes had also to be proved out in Arctic conditions by teams of drivers backed up by sophisticated instruments who knew how and where to search for any hidden weaknesses. We live in an age concerned for its environment, and air pollution is a word we are hearing more and more. Legal requirements on exhaust emission are continually tightening, and were high on the priority list of this program. Ford tape-recorded the worst roads in the world to reproduce under laboratory conditions prototype suspension tests. Only the toughest of roads can lead to the best suspension, and the suspension geometry of this new car is one of the most important aspects of the entire concept. In Germany, a vital part of the research and engineering headquarters is a very comprehensive test track. Here, engineers can drive a prototype straight from the laboratory, run a series of really punishing tests, and be back within minutes to examine the results. Safety by accident avoidance and injury reduction was a factor of total involvement. Safety engineers worked on the project from the beginning, linking with designers, engineers and planners, deliberately smashing costly prototypes to assess, measure and prove out safety factors inherent in the design.
Wednesday.
But endless mechanical tests are a barren thing without the long and final stages of the prototype's life as a real car on real roads. Not just straight runs on tarmac, but tens of thousands of miles on the most comprehensive test tracks in the world, including the Ford Proving Ground at Lommel in Belgium, a vast man-made complex that creates every known surface and condition that today's family car market demands. To put to the test all that design and engineering has produced, a sophisticated, highly refined product with the best brains and best facilities of Britain and Germany. These are prototypes now destined for production, designed to replace the most successful British car ever, the Cortina. A new Cortina, Ford's answer to 5 million questions.
I think the customer today is looking for a low, sleeky car that holds the road.
High top speed, nice cruising speeds.
The seat comfort's important. All-round visibility.
Positive steering, good road holding.
Thoroughly reliable.
Quiet in the driving seat.
Boot capacity.